I will start with the introduction. This lecture focuses on the major issues in development and labor studies, which include but are not limited to one, globalization. Globalization, I have broken it down into subheadings. We will look at the definition of globalization, types of globalization, benefits, challenges of globalization. Number 2, or B, we then look at information communication technology, ICT. We start by taking the definition of ICT and then the ICT index. And I say, what for? Why is it? What is it used for? And then we will move to numbers C, Neo-liberalism, the perspective of Adam Smith, 1776, and Milton Friedman, 1963. We look at the Nigerian model of neoliberalism, the reform policies that were put in place during this period, the implications for Nigeria's economy. The next point, the next subheading is D, which is a decent work agenda. We look at decent work agenda, what it means, and what it entails. Then E is demographic changes in labor force or workforce. And then we will wrap it up with labor flexibility. All these topics I have, subtopics I have mentioned, they are subtopics as far as this course is concerned. But there are major topics in most of our courses, especially in the industrial relations aspect of the course, of our program. And so one topic is as wide as you can imagine. But in this aspect, we are expected to look at the key areas of this topic and summarize them. And that is why I have provided you with a summary note. That summary note is a guide, for those of you who are bookworms, who want to acquire, who are inquisitive of knowledge. It will give you an opportunity to undertake or to explore more literature, to research more on those topics and gain more knowledge. That is the essence. And so we are going to take the first one. I know that we cannot finish these topics I've mentioned under 2 hours. It's not possible. So we will take as much as we can within 2 hours and then conclude it in the next period or next time we schedule for another lecture. So we start with globalization, the definition of globalization, the benefits, the challenges of globalization. You can see these are the preamble aspects of globalization. I've taught globalization in multinationals. Globalization is a wide concept. It is a very wide concept. It is a multidisciplinary concept. It is a concept that is interconnected with almost every aspect of our learning, especially given the present dispensation of Internet of Things and the globe and the use of technology in the world of work as well as in the business world. The concept of globalization is flexible and prone to a wide range of interpretations. Globalization is a contemporary and multidisciplinary concept. Apply 2017 defines globalization as an important economic term frequently used to denote the acceleration of the interconnectedness in the global economy, which leads to open international markets. So globalization, like I said, is a very wide concept. It's a multidisciplinary concept. A lot of scholars have defined it in several ways because, some define it from economic perspective. Some have defined it, from political perspective. Some from, geographical perspective, financial perspective, So it is a multidisciplinary concept. What we mean is it is interconnected. It is interrelated with different disciplines. And so scholars from those disciplines define globalization from their respective perspectives. And so Opale defines globalization as economic term. You can see this is from economic perspective. And he defines it as a term that is frequently used to show acceleration of interconnectedness in the global economy, which leads to open international markets and global corporations. It is globalization that led to international market, that developed international market, international trade. It is globalization that led to the development or evolution of corporations, like multinational corporations. Globalization play a very vital role in the development of multinational companies. Multinational companies are an agent of globalization, and that is the perspective that Opale has, defined globalization. There are other definitions of globalization. You can search in the internet and then get more of the definitions. I taught globalization in another course where I listed a lot of definitions, but by giving the scope of this course, given that the area of coverage is very slim, we are expected to know just the introductory aspect of all these topics I have mentioned, and you will get to know more about them as you move forward, as you proceed, as you advance in your program. And so, your inquisitive students can also search for more definitions to enrich their knowledge. So the types of globalization, you can see, I have stopped there because it is a summary. But if you go to the note, it is more elaborate, and you can get more knowledge and insight about how to enrich that note and enrich your knowledge as well. Types of globalization. Like I said, the definition of globalization is derived, or it comes from different angles, different disciplines. And so also globalization has different types derived from different disciplines, and the different types of globalization concept map, that's what we call it, because it is it is widespread across different disciplines. And so we call that movement as a globalization concept map. A map is a direction. It is a road map that is telling you what and how to do go about or navigate about areas or certain or do things in a specific manner as may be directed by the map. And so the map here, the concept of the map here signifies many different forms of globalization. Different forms of globalization. Globalization, according to a Committee for a Development Policy, which is the United Nations subsidiary, define economic globalization. That is the first one, economic globalization, as the increasing interdependence of world economies as a result of growing scale information in types of productive activities and marketization. Is in the area of increase, economic globalization focuses on the area of economic issues with respect to growing scale of information, large scale of information, increasing information, covering different areas in economics, and then how this translate into productive activities and marketization. Marketization, commoditizing the products in order to make money. That is what it means, economic globalization. We see financial globalization drawn from finance. It could be, we have finance department, we have accounting department, we have actuarial department. Globalization is widespread across disciplines. Financial globalization is connected with the rise of a global financial system with international financial exchanges and monetary exchanges. Yes, monetary and financial exchanges across countries. For instance, if stock markets, which is financially linked to global world, has any decline, it has a spiral effect across countries. People use stock exchange markets to make money. You will be in Nigeria and you are trading in overseas with your system. And so this is a type of financial globalization. We have cultural globalization. Culture is a way of life of people. Culture talks about values, the values of people, the principles, the beliefs, the costumes, the rituals and routines of life and of people. So it refers to the interpenetration of culture, which as a consequence means nations adopt principles. It's what we call cultural acculturation. Cultural acculturation of cultures, of cultural issues, cultural thoughts, cultural rituals across nations. The globalization has facilitated one society adopting different culture, neglecting their own unique culture as a result of globalization. Globalization has a very great impact in culture and in cultural beliefs and customs. We have another type as sociological globalization. Sociological globalization has to do with interconnection, and the interdependence of events and their consequences upon people. How people move from one time to another, from one place to another, and how people are integrated, from one society to another. It is a social life, a society that practices events and ideas as a result of movement of people, bringing ideas and integrating them into their own sociological events. Sociological globalization, information moves almost in real time together with interconnection and interdependence of events and their consequences. People move all the time to mix up and integrate different societies. That is sociological globalization. Technological globalization, the phenomenon of which millions of people are interconnected through the power of the digital world via platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Skype, or YouTube. This one is very popular. Globalization and technology are twin concepts. They are like 5 and 6. They are intertwined. Globalization and technology. So we have technological globalization, and that has swept the world into great civilization and development. We have geographical globalization. It is the new organization and hierarchy of different regions and locations of the world that is constantly changing. Geographical location, you can see with your visa, you can travel all over the world with your visa and all the right documents. Globalization has made it possible. Globalization has taken over transportation. Transportation now, people now prefer to go by air, if you have the money and you have the visa to travel. So geographical globalization, if you without restrictions, if you have all it takes, to travel, nobody stops you, and you go and enjoy yourself and come back by means of transportation, air transportation. Ecological globalization. This is concerned with the idea of considering the planet Earth as a single global entity, deemed as a common good every society should protect. Ecological globalization. Ecology is a very serious issue in the world right now. It is a contemporary issue. Ecological development, ecological control of hazards, is a contemporary issue. The climate change is a part of ecology. It's a type of ecology, and governments of countries governments are giving great concern on issues relating to ecology, and globalization facilitates the activities and even provide solutions to some of these problems that are that bedevil, that are caused by ecological problems. So what are the benefits of globalization? What are these benefits? What are the benefits? We have talked about the definition, the types of globalization. Does globalization ever have any benefit? And the answer is yes. You can even mention them without even me, listing them. That is why I have just listed them here. You can, add flesh. I'll go to the note. I think in the note, you add flesh to the note. And as you do that, you are learning. You are learning. Access to new cultures. That is one point. That is one of the benefits of globalization, which is provided by cultural globalization. By traveling, by, through acculturation, through cultural importing or adapting other societies' culture, you learn more, you learn new cultures. You learn new cultures. In Nigeria today, we have a lot of imported cultures, white man culture, especially the US culture. We want to behave, we want to look like them, we want to eat their type of food, we want to walk like them. Everything we want to imitate like the whites. That is adaptation of new cultures. We have the second one is the spread of technology and innovation. Yes, that you can name it. Today, the phones no longer have batteries. The batteries are now inbuilt. Innovation, technology. That is innovation and technology. That is technological innovation, and technology globalization. A lot of technology, the know-how are invoked, especially in the area, in the world of work. Like in the multinational companies, they transfer technology from their home country, from multinationals' home country, from the headquarters. They transfer technology. Technology does not only mean the physical machines you use, the plants you see in the industries. It also it encompasses skills. It encompasses knowledge. It encompasses managerial skills. These are classified as technology. And so technology is widespread and it creates innovation. And that is one of the benefits of globalization. Lower cost for products. Lower cost for products. Yes, but machines have increased the rate of production. The rate of production. We now have mass economic of large scale production. It is as a result of innovation from machines. Before we used manual machines, but given the advent of globalization, mechanization now turned around the productive process, and then goods are now manufactured in large quantity as a result of globalization. As a result of globalization, we have high standards of living across the globe. Yes, as a result of globalization, people travel and see what foreigners are doing. They come to their home countries and then practice such, and they live a standard life. They live a standard life, but in a situation where the economy is not favorable, the economy is very harsh, and money is hard to earn. Can you live a standard life? Can you live a standard living? Can you have a standard living? It is a very dicey situation. Access to new markets, yes. Through globalization, people travel out. People can travel to Dubai, travel to Germany, travel to all these Igbo boys that are merchants in Ariaria. I mean, in Ariaria, at Alaba, at Ladipo. They import cars. They pieces the cars over there and bring them in parts and and couple them in Nigeria. So it is access. We have access. They have access through globalization. You have access to new markets. They study for another example of new access to market. In Nigeria, we have export processing zones. These zones scattered all over. I mean, there are about how many of them? One in Nigeria. They are scattered in strategic states of the federation. What do? There are some standard organization of man. They register raw materials, yeah, and then export it to outside world, and then make their money. Right now, vegetable ugu is being exported to US, to different countries. And ugu leaf or vegetable is popularized. It is popularized all over the world. Almost every tribe eats ugu as a food, as a leaf, as a food nutrient. It's a nutrient. So access to new talent as well. Access to new talent. People can get job. You can get job from Nigeria, and you can be in Nigeria and get job in US, get job in any part of the world, provided you are qualified. Talents. Nigeria can also employ people overseas, especially expatriates, when the need when the need arises. So these are some of the benefits that we derive from globalization. Yet it has its own challenges as well. The challenges of globalization, international recruitment. International recruitment is one of the challenges of how international recruitment. How is it a challenge? How is international recruitment a challenge? Take for example Nigeria, and when you talk about international recruitment, you are talking about the methods, starting policies that govern recruitment of people, especially expatriates, or the expatriates in Nigeria, employing Nigerians into their organizations. And then it is an issue, it is a challenge. For instance, in the system of American, Chevron, for instance, in Nigeria, employing Nigerians to work, you will agree with me that most of them don't give them full-time job. It is a casualization. Casualization, a concept we call polycentric method of recruitment. Polycentric method of recruitment, is defined by the foreign managers employing the home country nationals into their organizations. You see, they deny them permanent employment. Permanent employment that is, they give them casual employment that is devoid of all the benefits that those who are in permanent employment receive. They are casuals, they are on contract basis, and in contract basis, an atypical employment type, an atypical type of employment that is fireable. It is an appointment that is renewable. It is like your name is written in pencil, not in ink, not in ink. It is written in pencil, and you can be fired any moment you misbehave, any moment you exhibit a misconduct in the organization, they fire you. There is no backup, because unions are also disorganized. Unions are not given a pride of place in these organizations, and so it is a very big challenge. Globalization, as regards international recruitment, it is a very big challenge, and there is need to address this issue of casualization, especially in Nigeria. Almost 95% of employment opportunities based on casualization. Managing employee immigration is another point. Managing employee immigration, yes, it is a problem. You cannot get visa so easily, even in the developing countries. Why? You have the probe into everything that concerns immigration. Immigration laws are being extensively applied, especially when you are coming from the third world country, when you are coming from a developing country. Nigeria is not a third world country. Nigeria is a second world country. We are not. The country is not a second. It's not a third world country. You can talk about third world countries when you mention countries like Congo. That concludes the aspect of globalization. You can see how many minutes time it has taken us to explain that. This is just a tip of an iceberg. If you compare it to with what it should be in a course, as a full topic. And so the second one is information communication technology, ICT, information communication technology, information communication technology. It's a broad term for information technology, that is IT. It is the name information communication technology can be shortened to IT, information tech, and which refers to all communication technologies, including the internet, wireless networks, cell phones, computers, software, video conferencing, social networking, and other media applications and services enabling users to access, retrieve, store, transmit, and manipulate information in a digital form, including my PowerPoint. Is an information technology. It is what we also benefit from. So ICT is very, very important. It is technology. It is globalization. It is name it, ICT. And the knowledge of ICT is very, very important, especially when you are in a learning process. And so the aspect of using ICT in Nigeria, in the world, has been given a pride of place. Countries now, give a priority attention, to ICT, and then the Global Union, the International Telecommunication Union, now designed a standard too that government operators, government agencies and researchers could use to measure the extent of a global connectivity index that countries use. We have about 11 of them. It is well explained in the lecture note I sent to you. You can read it and then understand what I just abridged the part of the note here. So in that ranking, the global ranking of 2020 by ITU. ITU is the International Telecommunication Union. They rank countries by countries. Nigeria in the year 2020, last year, Nigeria was in the 76th position, having scored just 27%. And that will tell you that we are very, very low in ICT, both in knowledge and application, and consummation. There are key indicators. If you get to the note, you read it. There are key indicators, 11 of them, that are used to measure country performance or country performances in ICT usage and the readiness and the intensity. So you can go to the note and look at the note and then read more on this aspect of ICT. Now, the next one is the Neo-liberalism. Neo-liberalism. What is Neo-liberalism? What is Neo-liberalism? Neoliberalism is an economic concept as well as political ideology. It is both economic and ideology. Both economic and political. It is both economic and political. For instance, you can be talking about economic aspect of neoliberalism. You begin to mention types of market economies. Market economies like liberal market economy, coordinated market economy, mixed market economy, segmented market economy. These are different types of neoliberalism, and they have principles. They have their principles and their applications and their implications as well in the national economy. So neoliberalism can be traced back to the period of Adam Smith classical works that he published in 1776, the Wealth of the Nation, titled The Wealth of the Nation. In that work, he came up, with the proposition or the suggestion that he argued that the markets are governed by invisible hands. Invisible hands is a metaphorical expression, meaning government is intervention. That government intervention should be minimal in the neoliberal economic policies. That the government should be silent. The government should not be so conspicuous in the issues relating to policy making as in the neoliberal states. And so that was the originator. If we can credit, we can credit, the neoliberalism to Adam Smith. Adam Smith was the originator of neoliberalism. The classical economics. He was the originator. He was the precursor of neoliberalism. And this concept, this ideology, was popularized by a scholar, Milton Friedman of Michigan University of economics. He wrote a book titled A Monetary History of the United States, which he published in 1963. In that book, he attributed the Great Depression of the 1920s and 1930s to issues, to the policies of the government in the United States. He proposed that he believed that laissez-faire government policy is more desirable than government intervention in the economy. What is laissez-faire economy? Laissez-faire government. What are the laissez-faire policies? The laissez-faire policies, as the name sound, is the freedom of association, freedom of enterprise, a situation where policies are freely made and without restriction, with lesser or minimal government intervention. And it is an ideology that encourages competition of enterprise, human enterprise, freedom of capital and investment, coupled with privatization of public assets or public companies. He proposed that government should aim for a neutral monetary policy that can achieve long-run economic growth by gradual expansion of the monetary supply. Yes, the government is neutral in policy making, and then encourage economic growth through gradual expansion of the monetary supply. But in most of the developing countries, they make policies that they expect immediate results, rather than growing the economy gradually. They want to formulate policies that have no long-term effect, that will not have long-term effect. They want short-term benefits from their policies, and that is why we're going into comatose when such policies are no longer enforceable, are no longer applicable. We have decayed institutions that are supposed to have yielded results and move the country forward. We rather see institutions that are decayed, coupled with corruption and lack of transparency and accountability, and that causes the stagnation of the country, and things turn the other way around. And Friedman is advocating for a market economy that is governed and determined by price mechanism, that is governed by the forces of demand and supply, the price mechanism, what he really called quantity theory of money. Quantity theory of money signifies the amount of money with the purchasing power of money, what your money can buy. Look at the economy, depressed economy, where money has no value. where naira to exchange to naira with dollar has depreciated to nothingness. And so it is a problem. It is a problem. Milton Friedman is an advocate of free capital economies, free capital economy that will grow gradually to an optimum satisfaction. It is straight knowledge that neoliberalism is penetrating public policies of many governments in developed and developing countries, and of its national agencies such as the World Bank, the IMF, WTO, where our sister, our Nigerian, is the director, Ngozi Iweala, is now managing that institution. It is a great institution, but it has been classified as one of the institutions, as one of the imperialist institutions in the whole world. And it is, the system of imperialism, the system of neoliberalism is advancing into this public and international agencies, including government of countries. Nigeria then have tested the neoliberal economic ideology, blended with political undertone. With political undertone. And that is during the period of
General Babangida
in 1986, when he introduced the Structural Adjustment Program, SAP, Structural Adjustment Program. It is a model of Nigerian neoliberal concept or ideology. He introduced formula policies in Nigerian market economy. In the Nigerian market economy, such policies or reform policies, in transformative policies, so they call, included elimination of price control. Price control was eliminated. Before then, there was a price control board that monitors and enforces prices on consumer goods. And so when SAP came on board, they abolished that board. When they abolished that organization, and then the prices that became an individual thing. As somebody can, the people maximize profit. A thing of 50 naira will be sold at 100 naira or 200, as the case may be. And so, total elimination of price control. Deregulation of capital markets was one of the policies. Nigeria is very good at formulating fine policies, but the implementation is the problem. The implementation is the problem. We are deregulation of capital markets, deregulation of all the sectors of the economy through privatization, by introducing market fiscal and monetary and fiscal policies that will enhance and improve the economy. Import substitution policies. By this, they stop importation of raw materials, stop importation of medicaments, stop importation of machines in order to allow the infant industries to thrive. These are fine policies that could boom an economy. Government, went ahead during that time to sacrifice the reduction. Public expenditures was very minimal as a result of SAP policies. Privatization of public companies, private ownership was encouraged. People now, came for investment. Private people can now invest in government properties. But it is an opportunity it turned to become an opportunity to erase a certain set of people. Wow. Lowering of removal of trade barriers and global financial flows, import substitution policies, in fact, protectionist policies that will, protect the infant industries were put in place. But do you know what? Regrettably, these fine policies did not achieve the expected results. Instead, the market economy manifested the following negative implications. One, high rate of unemployment, especially the youth. The youth were not employed. A greater number of the youth was exploring literature yesterday, and I came across the indices, unemployment indices, classified the youths, male and female, in Nigeria. It was amazing that the youths are suffering unemployment. The rate of youth unemployment in the developing countries is very alarming. And yet, some countries parade the giant of Africa. That is great. High rate of unemployment, especially the roots, ban unemployment, especially government-owned companies. During that period, government organizations, public departments banned employment. There was no employment. There were no employments, and people were not employed. And a situation where a growing number of people have no job, it gives root to social vices. A lot of things can happen, kidnapping, burglaries, and a lot of things that can, be an obstacle to life or danger to life. Frequent retrenchment was the order of the day because importation of raw materials were banned. So industries have nothing to manufacture or produce with. And so people were redundant. They were organizations, dismissed or even put their employees into redundancy. Delay in payment of wages and salaries. Delay in wages and salaries. Salaries and wages were not paid as when due. And so people suffer, to wait for their salary to be paid. No importation, and austerity measures restricted exchange and free flow of capital. Poverty, starvation, and deprivation of the people prevailed during the SAP period. Now, I want you to take a cursory look at the government of that time and the current government and compare their differences and similarities. And that will form the discussion question number 1. Thank you so much. I want to tell you that we are going to stop here, and we will continue to finish up that topic in the next week. Thank you so much.